Hey everybody, welcome back to Change Your Perspective, Change Your Awareness, Change Your Life. I'm Dr. Michelina, and we are talking about the 9 theories of intelligence as outlined by Dr. Gardner. Okay, and so we have talked about, I think, about half of them. We've talked about numbers, we've talked about body, we've talked about space, and we've talked about words. And today we're going to talk about music. Now, music is such an interesting intelligence, but also an interesting concept. And I don't think we put enough emphasis on music, okay? Music is, and I say this not lightly, music is the language of the universe, okay? Energy, vibration, anything that can be felt on a subcranial understanding is a universal thing to be aware of. I say that because nature is one of those things. We're going to talk about natural intelligence too. But music is one of those things in that music can put people all on the same wavelength, quite literally, right? If you think about sound waves, everything in the universe works on energy, waves, light waves, sound waves, it all has to do with energetic vibration. Okay, and I don't want to go too much into that. It's important, but I won't go too much into it. But I do need you to understand musical intelligence, to some degree, we all have. As far as we can intuitively feel music, we can't help ourselves. Music is the great equalizer, right? Musical intelligence, right, goes one step further. Musical intelligence has to do with not just the appreciation of music, which I think to some degree we all do, we all have musical intelligence. We just do. But it also has to do with the ability to create, compose, perform in a skillful sort of way, right? So everybody, this is a large point I want to make here, everybody has musical intelligence to some degree if they can appreciate music. Because music is something we feel in our very spirit, in our very being, okay? Music is one of those things that raises your vibration should you want it to. Sometimes when we're sad, we put on music and we get more sad, It's like a cathartic experience. It's an expressive outlet. And then sometimes we feel sad and we put on our favorite upbeat song so that we feel better. Music can shift our energetic body. And so if you can appreciate that, if you're aware of that, you have some level of musical intelligence. But if you have the ability or skill to perform, create, compose, do anything of that nature, then you have a higher level of musical intelligence. Everybody has, I think, a baseline thereof, but if you can hear music, if you can hear music, if you can discern pitch, if you can be sensitive to melody, you can be sensitive to tone and lyrics and all of these sort of nuances that have to do with musical scale, you have musical intelligence. And so, not surprisingly, musical intelligence is very niched. It's very niched, right? But we all have in us some ability to discern discordant melody versus symphonic melody, right? If there's a cacophony, which is to say chaotic sound, we internally shy away from that. Think like alarm bells. They are jarring for a reason. We realize there's something off about that sound. It's not harmonious. And that's why certain people's voices, you're like, I can't listen to this person's voice. I can't learn from this person's voice. It matters a lot. And so people who take it one step beyond that, with high musical intelligence, not surprisingly, they compose, they play instruments, they sing, they conduct. People with high musical intelligence kind of have to be in a musical field. And that manifests in a lot of different ways, obviously, of course it does. And so genre based is different, like, bluegrass country versus rap versus metal versus classical, all the things. They manifest differently. Although now you're seeing a lot of crossovers between like country and rap, and it's not that far-fetched, because as much as everything seems like it's divided, it's actually really not. If you, I don't want to get, I don't want to get too existential. I have to modify and watch myself. But I will just say, we see a lot of division where it's not necessarily present. I'll leave it at that. So all this to say, people who have musical intelligence, they are able to do more than just appreciate musical pattern. They are able to create it, discern it, work with it, perform it, compose it, and they are usually very sound sensitive, right? They're usually very sound sensitive. Like they can hear different pitches, they can discern things kind of in a way that other people might not pick up on, right? If you don't have a musical intelligence, you don't have a sensitivity to sound, it's not going to be as obvious or glaring to you as it would to someone who has it. Because the difference is this: people who just appreciate music and who feel it in their spirit, which is all of us, they just feel it kind of in their spirit. People who are musically intelligent understand it with their brain, right? It's intelligence. They understand it with their brain, they understand it with their body, they understand it with their spirit, they understand it in every way, shape, and form that it can be understood, right? And so, so that's kind of the difference. But I will say, to some degree, everybody has a musical intelligence. But if you're a sort of receiver of it versus a creator of it, that will distinguish what level of musical intelligence you have, right? As an example, like my brother, self-taught musician, right? Self-taught musician, plays with one of the top country singers in the world. But when he was 10, he was teaching himself how to play guitar. He has very little lessons, very little learning. He plays like 18 different musical instruments now because he's highly musically intelligent. Of course, what does that mean for the other intelligences? He's not interested in them really, right? Like he doesn't even need to read music. He can discern it by his ear. He's very musically talented and intelligent. And so his skill set in like high school got him nowhere, because music is an elective in high school. It's like barely even a thing. But his natural ability and talent got him everywhere in life, following his dreams and his passion, right? And that's of course because he was fostered. Everybody in my family was like, go. We listened to him practice all the time. Like we woke up listening to him playing guitar. Like I did his assignment so he'd get through high school. Like, cause I'm word intelligent. Not all of them, not all of them. But all that to say, the system is set against people who have these finer intelligences. And so all that to say, right? We do have craftsman schools and things. We do have Juilliard, you have Berkeley, you have these kind of highly creative, musical, spatial, body kinesthetic institutes. But for the most part, like, it's kind of hard to come by. It can be. So if you have a high level of musical intelligence and you've never fostered that, right? Musical intelligence specifically needs music. And so all that to say that musical intelligence, I think, is one of the more fascinating intelligences because it hits all of us, but in different ways. And even among like musical artists, there are people who are more or less universal. The ones that do really well, Taylor Swift, Morgan Wallen, right? They hit a lot of people on a fundamental level with the lyrics, with the sounds, with the pitch, it's all very pleasing. It's all very harmonious. It's all very relatable. Musical intelligence I really could talk about it for a very long time. It's so important. Music is such an important language of the universe that I don't think people nearly give enough credit to or understand in the way that I wish that they would, right? So if you are somebody with musical intelligence and you've never fostered it, pick up an instrument, start singing. You're doing yourself a huge disservice, right? I don't care how old you are. If you know you are musically inclined, you need to start doing something musical like yesterday. That's just a fact. So if you took the quiz and you have a high level of musical intelligence and you're working in like a factory, you know, you're out of balance. That's not for you. And I'm just saying, you know. Anyway, so I'm hoping always that this is helpful and interesting information. This one specifically impacts everybody, but on different levels. And so this applies to everyone. If you are ready to take your self-growth, personal development journey further, you're definitely going to want to contact some way, drop a comment, send an email, book a call, because there's so much to learn about yourself. There's so much to learn about yourself in so many different capacities, and we don't have schools that teach it. And so we have a lot of people who are re-educating themselves, reparenting themselves in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. And so that's why we created the Academy, right? It's all about the School of You. That's what I coach, right? So here for that. And if you are liking what you see here, tell your friends, send it to them. If you see an intelligence that maybe will help them understand themselves, send it, grow the channel, and we will keep bringing you the information to change your awareness and change your perspective and eventually change your life. So I will see you guys on the next video.